Aaron Tuttle here for Ferguson Roof Systems. For 43 years, Ferguson Roof Systems has been protecting Oklahoma's homes and businesses with quality roofing services. Their goal was to be the most honest and dependable roofing company in the state, all while providing free services such as lifetime labor warranty and annual inspections. Well, mission accomplished with thousands of client testimonials, an A+ Better Business Bureau rating, and a 5-star rating on Google. Look, the weather gives you enough to worry about, so why worry about who to trust with your roof? Call Ferguson Roof Systems today or find out more at fergusonroofsystems.com.
Hey everyone, Meteorologist Aaron Tuttle back with you again. It is Tuesday night. It is time to talk about the weather, and we've got a lot to talk about over the next coming days because we've got a big pattern change coming up. You may have noticed there's a little something in the air when you're getting tornadoes in December on the 13th at 4 o'clock in the morning. So, yeah, that should kind of be a rude awakening that we've got some interesting stuff coming our way. So, it kind of sets the pattern for a big dramatic change for our weather. So, that'll be the last time we'll have to deal with severe weather for quite some time, and probably till the spring, fingers crossed. But in the short term to midterm, so basically the rest of this month, and we'll see how the beginning of January looks. But it's going to get quite cold around here. We'll have temperatures that'll be on that. Could be the old pipe bursting kind, So thanks for joining me. We're going to talk about that and more. Let's see. Out there currently, it is not quite horrific. We're 47 degrees. This will actually feel pretty warm to you coming up over the next couple of weeks. You'll look at that temperature and go, oh, I remember back when we were in the upper 40s. It felt so nice. So if you would like a Tempest weather station like I have here in my backyard, you can use my promo code AT's Weather, save a few bucks. Use that QRL code to get you a link to where you can purchase one. Or you can actually, that'll take you to my website, which actually has another temporary discount code just for the holidays to save you a few extra bucks more on top of the already discount. So take advantage of that if you'd like a Christmas gift for someone who's just a weather enthusiast. All right, let's take a look here. Now, again, we did have a few tornadoes across North Texas, East Texas, Louisiana today. Also, one confirmed in Oklahoma, in Wayne. We'll probably see another. I think the Weather Service had just completed a temporary, or a preliminary, I should say, damage survey. It just came in off the presses. Let me see if they had anything in addition. No, still looking. So right now they just have that EF2 for McLean County. Did do some damage there. So we'll see what they have in for any other tornadoes that did come up. They issued quite a few warnings early this morning for those storms. Okay, so let's take a look at the jet stream pattern. So we'll start you off now, and we'll take a look at this. This is the big storm system that affected us here in the last 24 hours. So this will scoot on off to the north and east, and we're going to see what happens and comes in behind it as the pattern evolves. So that'll move on out. Our weather will get cold because that'll pull in some colder weather in the backside of it. As we head into the weekend, though, this is Friday and this Saturday, that little system moves off into the Great Lakes area. And then as we head into Monday of next week, this little guy's zipping through here. Might try to do some really light precipitation. That has been some signals over the last couple of days. And then we'll see what happens with that one. But if that one doesn't really materialize or do much for us, the European is loving this look here, which is wrapping up a very strong area of lower heights here across Colorado. This is a massive setup with a nice split here. Let me highlight it here for you. A nice split that comes up here across the southern plains. So that evacuates a lot of air aloft here across Oklahoma. That sets up for a pretty big winter storm. Now this is, in this particular case, right around the 22nd to the 23rd is when this pattern takes shape. So in my blog, I mentioned on Sunday that we're kind of looking in that window around the 20th to the 22nd. This model still kind of hanging in there around the 22nd for the sweet spot, but remember, it's going to be kind of a give or play touch or minus, a day or in that window of when this winter storm can end up becoming a reality. So that's what we're going to look for here coming up. So if you're wanting some snow or ice or whatever, stay tuned. All right, so the short term, we are going to have our first round of cold that moves through. This is on Wednesday afternoon, so right around lunchtime. You're going to see this big batch of blue on the map here with these northern arrows and western arrows. This is the northern wind coming in. So the cold front will move in on Wednesday in the middle of the day, and that'll bring in those north-northwest winds for a while, bring in some colder air. They'll die down for Wednesday evening. Stay kind of in a west-northwesterly direction. Another reinforcing shot here for Thursday. The wind field coming out of the northwest, still up around 20 knots. I'm guessing probably 25 knots, so quite windy both periods of time. So there's Thursday afternoon, die down again Thursday evening. And then over the weekend, we'll have another reinforcing shot of some colder air. Now, how's it look for temperatures? Not terrible for right now, like we mentioned. So tonight, we'll be back into the 30s across the state and into the 40s. So that's obviously a little bit of a change. And we've gotten rid of that warm, or I shouldn't say warm, that milder, muggy, or even cooler, muggy weather we've seen over the state for the last few days. Now in the afternoon, we're back into the mid 40s, and this is even as that first front arrives. So yes, it's going to be a cold front, but it's not quite as cold as the ones that will continue to come in afterwards. So again, that's 4 o'clock. We're back into the mid to upper 40s across the state. Then we're back into the 30s for Wednesday night and Thursday morning. And then we're right back into the 40s again for Thursday. Lower 40s at that, so a couple degrees cooler. Again, back into the 30s, and there's some 20s, and rinse and repeat for our Friday. All right, so that's kind of how the rest of the week will look. Now, I want to show you, this is the temperature anomaly. In other words, how much above or below normal temperatures are here at the surface at ground level. And we're looking at the nation, including Canada, because I want to show you what happens. So we actually have temperatures above normal right now, believe it or not, in that kind of an orange, yellow colored shading. Now, in brown, so look what happens. That warmer air moves to the east in the central Canada and the eastern half of the country as we go into Thursday and Friday. And you can see how temperatures kind of cooler down. That blue shows up here across our region into the Rockies. So again, those are our first few fronts that kind of come through to get temperatures, pretty close to normal and or below for that period through the weekend. And there's a little brief warm up there. It kind of sneaks in there for Sunday to Monday. But then look what happens across Canada. Are you seeing all that purple on the map? Are you seeing this pink on the map way out there in western Canada? It'll be in western Kansas here in a minute. But look at these numbers that starts to show up. This out here in Montana, this is right around minus 61 degrees. That's a drop. In other words, 61 degrees below normal. That's how cold this air mass is. So let me go back up here. We'll keep it going through time. There's minus 62 was the coldest reading I've seen. But then look how quickly. Let me go back. Look how quickly it goes from Canada. This is on Tuesday evening. And then as we head into Wednesday night, so basically in 24 hours, it has moved from the far northwestern part of the U.S. into Oklahoma, across the Rockies and the Southern Plains. That's a fast-moving Arctic blast. And behind it, again, there's minus 62 degrees. That still seems to be the coldest up there. And then that colder air moves into our region for Thursday, the 22nd, and into Friday. Now, our numbers down here show about minus 28 to minus 30 below normal of what we would normally see. Hey, that's pretty cold. That's cold enough for me. And that colder air expands eastward in the Great Lakes, to the northeast, all the way down to Florida, all the way into Mexico. It crosses over the border from Texas, and it feels like it's minus 20s to minus 30s below normal in that area. So this is this big, nasty Arctic air mass coming as we head into our third week of December. Now, temperature-wise, how does that look? We'll go back and show you that as well. So we'll put this into motion for you. Show you how the map up north and west of Canada, show you how these colors start to come on in. Those are readings in the negative digits, as you can imagine. They get a little closer as we head into that Wednesday time frame, and then bam, they're moving into the state for a couple of days before Christmas. Man, that pink stuff up there, that's minus 45 to minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Oof. Now here, that's a big oof. So there's Thursday morning, for example. It's got us into the teens to around 10 degrees. And I'm going to zoom in on the map here in a second to kind of give you an idea of what this particular model has in store for how cold it could be here. And it keeps us in the teens here on Friday as well. So this is our coldest outlook I've seen from all the model data, but it is a trend that has been trending colder and colder with time. So kind of a heads up on that. All right, so let's take a look at what that may look like here, and we're going to blend the models. We're not just going to take that one outlier and go, that's gospel. So we're going to do more of a blended approach. Okay, so let's go on and zip on into, let's get past this week, and let's go into the fun stuff, all right? So let's go to Monday into Tuesday. Okay, so what happens here with the temperatures? Well, a little cooler, because remember, we're cooling down gradually with time, so there's going to be a lot more 30s next week than compared to this week for temperatures in the afternoon. Here's a look at Wednesday, 6 a.m. on the 21st. All right, so this is supposedly the day the cold air arrives. Now, as we head into Wednesday night into Thursday morning, there's temperatures dropping off into the 20s, and there's some single digits up here in the Panhandle, teens up here across the northern western parts of the state, and this is for Thursday, December 22nd at 6 a.m. So this is a model blend, meaning it will blend in the warm models and it will blend in the cold models, and this is an average. So it goes to show you that if some of those warmer models are out to lunch, we're in trouble because this is cold enough as it is. All right, so that means on Thursday itself, we're back into the 20s all day long. And then the next day, rinse, repeat. A lot more teens and single digits showing up here on the map for Friday, December 23rd at 6 a.m. Back into the teens we go, and again rebounding into the 20s if we're lucky by the afternoon. So that is kind of a sneak peek of how the data has been trending. In other words, colder and colder each day. And of course, we'll have wind chill values easily with this system with just those averages at or below zero in many areas of the state here by the time you head into that Thursday, Friday time frame. Okay, so now let's talk about storm systems. Let's see, is it going to snow, right? Well, first off, the system today, it dropped some ridiculous blizzard-like conditions across Colorado in the northern plains today. So that was a big snowmaker for them. All right, well, that doesn't do anything for us, so let's move on by. All right, things are quiet. And then here comes the knock on the door of the cold air. So this is pressing through the state. Drawing a little cold front kind of like this. All right, so this is our cold air that's coming in, and this is, again, Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening. Now, the timing on this, of course, you're not going to be able to get this far out, but this is the generic window. So that means this cold air will be blowing in behind it, and you can see snow and the colder air all the way from Colorado to the Central Plains. And usually there's a little transition a lot of the times along the front as it moves through of some rain to freezing rain, sleet, snow. So that's kind of usual. All right, so let's see what happens here as it gets in Oklahoma. So there's Thursday morning, the 22nd. Just a little bit of light precipitation that breaks out. So light wintry mix, nothing too heavy. That's our first signal. And then into Thursday, during the day, it really cranks up some ice. So there's a lot of freezing rain here across southeastern Oklahoma, on up north and east from there. Let me pull something up here real quick. Okay. And then back in northwest from Colorado, man, big time snow still continues up there. And that's crazy. So that's just beginning stages. And if you go into the next couple of hourly windows of the forecast and the model data, so Thursday evening into Thursday night midnight, and then through Friday morning, you can see quite a bit of snow has moved through Oklahoma and Kansas, etc., Missouri. So that is our winter storm coming our way if, again, this all materializes and the data keeps trending that direction. So that is what it's looking like. So what does that appear when you look at the precipitation amounts? This is just to give you an idea of the moisture in the atmosphere, what it's capable of doing. You know, these numbers will change, but it gives you the idea of placement, all that kind of stuff. So right now in the data, we're looking at the eastern, southeastern parts of Oklahoma getting some ice. And this is up to 1/4 to 1/2 inch in the worst case scenario. So that's an ice storm. Northwestern Arkansas, Missouri, onward. All right, so that's the way it looks in the freezing rain department. Now, we'll talk about the snow department. Let's take a look at that. So this is the Canadian model. Keeps a ton of the snow up north. The American model has a ton of snow, but it's just north of the border. of Oklahoma. But you can see this. The take home here is ridiculous amounts. We're talking feet of snow here across the Central Plains. The European model, it's got feet of snow here in Nebraska. There's almost 30 inches in that area. But look what it does for Oklahoma. It produces a lot more snow for us, central and west. And again, maybe they're all just snapshots from different models in time that ran this morning. And the American model flip-flops so many times it can go from bone dry to Katie bar the doors. We're digging out and building igloos to stay warm. So it has a wide range every day. If you were to take all the models and blend them together, here's the good news for you. The signal is still there, meaning it looks like we're going to get some snow. Now, this is going to be a very conservative amount, obviously. We're only talking 1 to 2 inches. To me, that's pretty lame, given the setup that we've got. But hey, at least that's something, right? And that's just a start. We get better from here, I believe. All right, so we look at the European and we look at the ensembles. We shove the model different directions, and we say, how much snow we're going to get between now through, this goes all the way up to December 28th. So this includes Christmas and beyond, just in case there's another system after the one we're looking at on the 22nd. And so in each of these little windows, we'll see if they're dry or if they have snow. All right, so let's see. I see some flurries on that one, but nearly nothing big. Here's one. So it's measurable snow. This is a good one. That's a good one. Not that one there or there. That one's, this one's a good one. And you keep going. You look at all these little squares. They pretty much mostly all have snow in it. That's a good sign. Let's go to the next batch, to the next 25 of them. And let's see. I'd say about half of these have good snow to ridiculous amounts of snow, like, several inches to a foot of snow. Hey, that's a pretty good signal. I like that. If you're a snow lover. If you look at Oklahoma City, just itself, a pin on the map, the model for the European, the ensembles, again, like we showed last night here in our live broadcast, right in this little timeline window, right around the 22nd to the 23rd. It's got several indications here of at least measurable snow, and it varies anywhere from 3 inches, 5 inches, 2 inches, a dusting. So it's all over the place, which is not unexpected. Okay, when you do take that snow and you extend it outward in the European data, and you go all the way into January, I just want to show you that it thinks, and pretty much most of these members, we're going to get snow this season. So in other words, it's the model's excited about snow, big time. If we take it all the way up through the beginning of spring, again, every member has snow in the forecast. They range anywhere from a dusting, the highest amount is 10 inches of snow here in Oklahoma City, again, through the rest of our season. So and the only take home that you really want to use with this is the fact that there's not a dry member. In other words, they all think it's going to snow. So in other words, the model is confident we're going to have snow this season. So there you go. Temperatures. All right, let's take a look at that for fun. As we've mentioned, kind of a cooler period here over the next few days. A lot more 40s showing up in our daytime high temperatures and overnight lows getting back into the 20s to some 30s. And then some big changes start to come our way here as we head to Monday and Tuesday as the weather dramatically changes across the country. Our biggest drop will be right here as we head from Tuesday to Wednesday. And that's our next big cold front that'll come in through the state. So depending on the timing of the front, maybe one of those things here on Wednesday, our temperature of 43 degrees is at midnight. And then every hour after that, it just gets colder and we never recover. It could be one of those deals. Depends on the timing when it arrives. But needless to say, on the 22nd, 23rd, potential there is for some teens with daytime highs in the 20s. And this is a model blend. So remember, this factors in some of the warmer model data. If we can kind of, have our fantasy with the American model to kind of give you an idea. Let's go to that one. Let's see. Let's go to a bigger picture of that one. There we go. It has temperatures in the single digits for Oklahoma City, which means much colder in the northern parts of the state. In other words, right around 0 or below is potentially on the table. Temperatures in the teens as a result here, much colder start. And there's Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, having it roughly into the 30s if we're lucky on both days. Again, a lot of this depends on if we get any precipitation in this zone. So if we end up with a lot of snow or sleet, freezing rain, that kind of deal, that accumulates quite substantially, it'll be harder to warm things up in this period here for our actual Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And then we'll see about this. Don't get too excited about these numbers going up. The overall pattern is still pretty cold. So I don't see any huge relief coming our way. That's the typical model of just doing wild swings from one to the other. So I'll throw that one out. But anyway, so there you go. That was what I want to talk to you about, as far as the weather goes, and kind of give you a detailed breakdown of how the trends have been going over the last few days. It keep getting colder and more impressive with this cold snap. It's a really good upper level pattern to produce this kind of stuff. And then usually if you can get the cold air in place, the question is, can you get an upper level storm system to come in on top of it to produce the fun stuff, which would be I don't really want to say freezing rain. That's not really fun for me. But the snow, I do like that. The freezing rain, that cost me some trees. So I was not happy about that. It's pretty, and it makes for great pictures, and it's a really eerie sound first thing in the morning when everything's all ice covered and just crackling when you go outside. So, it's got some neat aspects to it, but it's a mess otherwise for power outages and all that kind of stuff. And that's the other thing. So, power outages. In this case. So you have to watch for that when we're talking about the winter storm if we get that in this situation. Secondly, for this part of the country, you really need about temperatures to be right around, this is a ballpark average, again, there's going to be some variables in there, but roughly about 15 degrees Fahrenheit for about 24 hours. So if you're at that temperature or below, there's much higher risk of pipes bursting, both at your home and then cities and all municipalities, all that kind of stuff. So keep that in mind. That can become a problem with the water if, again, we get into that domain. We're talking over a week before we'll even know the exact temperatures we're going to be dealing with. That's how long we're away from getting the exact numbers. Right now, this is in the ballpark area with some fantasy thrown in of what could happen. So it's not a done deal. The cold is a done deal, and the coldest stretch we've seen in a while is a done deal. It's just the actual numbers, because there's still room. It could still go lower, and tomorrow's data, they may be lower. We'll just have to wait and see. But anyway, point is, you'll need to make sure you do your precautions, protecting your pipes outdoors, make sure you wrap your faucets and cover those up, etc., so that you don't find yourself in a situation where you've got to deal with that mess. All right, I think that's it. Let me take a look at a couple things here real quick. Oh, on my Facebook page, I forgot to press this button. All right, so in the comments section, if you would like to get notified when I do go live and you're not getting them from Facebook, I'll send them to you directly through your instant messenger. So just click on that and opt in, and you'll be good to go. By the way, you guys on Rumble, thanks for checking in and leaving your comments. Same thing for YouTube, as always. Thanks for checking in. And Jody's always got you in tune over there, always chiming in. Let's see, we got soon to be Gab TV. They're supposed to be going live functionality soon, but for you guys watching the replay there, appreciate you. Twitter also, thanks for checking in. Again, hopefully Musk will come up with some better live video abilities in the new platform. And of course, as always, on Facebook. And thanks for the stars and the support. So make sure you like and share this video. Tell your friends and family about AT's weather. Get my weather app. It works in the winter as well. It works all the time, 365. And for those folks that had my app, they got that warning of some tornadic activity late last night, early this morning. So it works every year, every place you go. So take it with you. That's why I call it AT's Weather to Go. You don't ever have to be without it. And that, because as you notice, tornadoes can happen in December. And then as far as winter weather goes, they'll still send you all those alerts for winter weather, and the precip type on the radar will change colors. In other words, right now, at this time of the year, it's kind of in that rain mode, but then once we get that colder weather, you'll see it transition to pink and then blue and white as it goes into the snow and freezing rain, that kind of stuff. Oh, Jack, ice for the next couple of weeks or not? Well, yeah, man, ice in that freezer of yours. Just those little ice cubes, they'll be there. But yeah, it looks like potential for a little bit of ice around here. Right around the 22nd is the time we're looking at for a winter storm. The signal's been there for, good grief, about a week. floating around. It just picks random days within that week, and so in my experience, when the signal's there for that long, it's going to happen. It's just you have to fine tune it as it settles down. And then once it settles down, you jump on it, and then you start, give as much details as you can about it, what to expect, so everybody's prepared. And then that way you guys can all rush the stores and buy all the milk and bread well in advance, so you don't have to wait till the last minute. I'm waiting for my checks from Walmart. They still haven't come, so I must not be doing that right. All right, I think that's it for me. Appreciate you guys checking in, and we'll do a few more of these lives here over the next few days because this is exciting for me because I finally get some good weather to talk about, and it's always exciting for you too. And then you get to learn a little bit of meteorology along the way about how things work the way they do. And I'll try to make some of these a little shorter. Tonight was a little long because there was a lot to talk about, and it was just I want to look at various things. Let's see, Mean Okie. We got a dangerous storm warning last night. Tornado index of 3. Well, yeah, you gotta watch out. Now, there is some interesting numbers there, so it's probably a good time to mention this. So you'll get a BTI rating on my weather app, and that is a rating for the confidence of a tornado in the fact that it's predicting whether or not that storm is going to have a tornado, basically on a scale of 0 to 10. If it's a 7 or higher, it's a done deal. It's a tornado. Don't even question it. Hit the deck. Go find some shelter fast. If it is, and this is during most of the year, spring, kind of early summer, even kind of in the fall. If the number is typically like around the 4, 5, and 6, it could go either way. I'd start either watch it for sure, get ready for sure, and then it's up to you whether or not you want to hit the deck. I would have played on the safe side. And then usually if it's 1, 2, or 3, it's usually just a heads up. There's a storm that's rotating, and it's starting to look like it may do that a little bit later in its life cycle. Now, in the weak events, meaning it's not expected, right? Early in the morning, December, something like that, that scale slides down a little bit. So in other words, what would be a 7 would be a 5. What would be a 5 would be a 3. So in other words, it's a sliding scale a little bit just because the environment is not as potent with all the other typical ingredients. So the scale is a little bit more sensitive. So so if you got, say for example, a BTI early this morning of a 5, that may have meant you got an actual tornado coming versus if it had been a 7. And if you had a 3, it may have been there's one that's trying to or just about to or did and fell apart, but it's right around that ballpark. So that's kind of how you can use that number as a guidance. But bottom line is, if you get a alert from my app, AT's Weather to Go, that says twisting storm alert, you might want to just go ahead and just seek shelter. Don't worry about the numbers so much. You can worry about them while you're in the shelter, and it's always the same: lowest floor, center part of the home, away from all outside walls and windows. If you have a storm shelter, use it. Those are great too. Alrighty, I'm gonna get out of here. Appreciate you guys watching tonight, and we will talk again soon. Take care, everybody. Sleep well.